The year is 2024. PBS Plus has just launched, bringing the world's streaming services to 4,387. How can anyone be expected to go through all this content? Fear not, loyal passengers. Captain Joe Shoes and his first mate Mez are here to travel through space and time to bring you the best nuggets pop culture has to offer. Strap in, folks. It's time for the JoeMeZ podcast.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 390 of the JoeMeZ podcast. I'm Mez, and my co-host, as always, is
the magistrate of Caravan City. I am Captain Joe Shoes from the JoeMeZ podcast.
Yeah, you are, buddy. What's up? How you doing, bro?
Gomez, I'm feeling great.
Oh, yeah, I love to hear that.
Yeah, there's a pep in my step and there's a zeal in myself.
Ooh.
And I'm really happy to be here today and get on with all these movies and such.
I'm very happy to hear this. This is good stuff, Joe.
Because I'm not gonna lie to you, normally I hate it.
I'm not. That's usually like, oh, not good, Gomez. Things ain't good. So I'm happy to hear that. It's good.
Things are great. Yeah. They call me the Sultan of Smiles, and these pearly whites are glowing right now. I got those whitening toothpaste. I'd be using the toothpaste.
You're shining. Yeah. Oh, wait a minute. What are you doing there?
Brush my teeth.
Oh, that's a big toothbrush. I don't know.
As a big man needs a big toothbrush.
Oh goodness, they all looking nice. Let me see. Give me that smile again. Let me see. Oh, look at that.
See,
you gotta jump on YouTube, folks.
This is a thing that gives away my age. I have one tooth. I think it's on my right side. It's weird because when you look in the mirror, things are on the opposite sides. Yeah. But I'm so old, I actually have a silver filling in my tooth.
Oh, yes, that is so old. Yes, I have one. I have had one cavity my whole life. Believe it or not, Mr. Candyman. I've had one cavity, and yeah, it's this silver thing. It's so funny to look at. You're like, what the fuck are we thinking,
my love, I know you are the Candyman, and oh, my love. Go listen to your Aqua CDs from 1995 if you haven't in a long time.
Dust them off, folks. Aqua CDs.
You guys love your physical media, right? Thank you guys for listening to the JoeMeZ podcast. Remember to hit that subscribe button. Leave a 5-star review wherever it is that you're getting this podcast. Check us out and subscribe on YouTube, youtube.com/@JoeMeZpod, and join our Facebook group. It's free. Simply search JoeMeZ podcast on Facebook. Join the group. Come in, vote in our polls each week to determine which movies will be moving on in our sports movie March Madness bracket, and talk about what we're watching, what's new, what's hot, and what's not.
The Facebook group is popping. It's a lot of fun. Come on in, folks.
Oh, Facebook group was getting on a couple good ones this week, but before we get into all those ones, we got to start with some breaking news.
Whoa! Breaking news. Oh, baby. I'm so excited to hear what's breaking this week, Joe. What's been going on?
Gomez, I'm not going to lie. There is a lot of breaking news this week. So breaking, it's broken. We have broken the news cycle, and we're going to start it off with our friends at Coffeemate. Now, you and I both know Coffeemate. They do all the creamers. I try them all out on my own YouTube channel, youtube.com/JoeMeZ. If you're listening to this on Thursday, yesterday, I would have just dropped the Coffeemate Mean Girls Pink Frosting Coffee Creamer review. So go check that out. Go check out the one from Monday, which is not Coffeemate, but International Delight Bridgerton. The Netflix show Bridgerton has a co-op flavor. They actually have two. I've only tried one. I've only found one so far. They have a berries and cream.
Yeah.
Berries and cream I haven't found yet, but I did come across the English toffee, and let's just say International Delight has reached out to me to say how much they like that review.
I fucking love it. What a thing to hear. I love it.
But Coffeemate is getting into a partnership with Dr. Pepper.
What the fuck?
This
What?
month, JoeMeZ, Coffeemate will be teaming up with Dr. Pepper to release a coconut lime creamer meant for dirty soda. This is meant to go with your soda, especially Dr. Pepper, so it mixes in with those 23 flavors and spices in Dr. Pepper, gives you a little coconut lime cream in your soda, and that's going to be available this month at stores everywhere for a limited time.
What the fuck is going on? Is this a thing? Well, right, I read people put some milk in Pepsi and stuff. Like, that's the thing, right? People put milk in soda.
Well, you
That's
figure
a
like a
weird
cream
thing.
soda or something, I guess.
I don't know. That's
You sound
weird.
like a dirty soda guy, JoeMeZ.
Listen, I do love a root beer float. You know, that's delicious. So I get like that's similar, but I don't know. It's not that similar to me. And coconut, I've never been a coconut guy. So
I like the taste of coconut, but I don't like actual coconut stuff because there's something about the texture
yeah, that's shady
and that weird
stuff.
crunchy. Yeah, like
Yeah.
I don't like that.
Yeah, coconut shrimp, not good, bro.
Yeah, not
It's a
my
shame.
thing.
Not my
JoeMeZ, we have a
Ooh.
big rumor out there in the
Oh.
wild that needs to be addressed. There
What's up?
was some leaked images with some Ghostbusters branding.
Ooh.
And it says made with Coca-Cola products. There is a rumor that the company Icee, you know, ICEE, they make the
Yeah.
slushies.
The bear, yeah.
Yes. There is a rumor that they will be making Ecto Cooler Icees. And it says made with Coca-Cola products. You know what a Coca-Cola brand is, JoeMeZ? High C.
Oh, this might be the best news you ever told me on this show.
It's just a rumor for now. Nothing has been formally announced, but some images have made it out there onto the internet. So there's a lot of speculation going on. And you know how we love our goss here on the Card JoeMeZ podcast. And though I may not be excited for the Ghostbusters movie, I would fuck some Ecto Cooler if I could. That shit is delightful. Is one of my all-time favorite drinks as a kid. When they released it in 2016 for Ghostbusters Answer the Call, I hoarded that stuff by the case.
The caseload, baby. It was the best. Amazon had it, bro.
Amazon had it in cases of 24. I was buying like 5 cases at a time. I maxed out.
So fucking good. Oh, wow. And I'm excited. Please be true. Please be true.
Please bring it back. Put Ecto Cooler in stores, Ecto Cooler on Amazon, Ecto Cooler cereal, whatever we could get. If I got to deal with fucking Ghostbusters movies just to get Ecto Cooler back every couple of years, you know what? I'm willing to make that sacrifice. You could call me the marsupial of martyrs. That way I deal with these fucking Ghostbusters movies just for Ecto Cooler.
Marsupial. Oh, Joe, the trailer doesn't look so bad, Joe.
We're not talking about that because we're breaking news over at Baskin-Robbins.
Whoa, wow, you hitting me with the baby. Tell me, what's up?
JoeMeZ, this is a big JoeMeZ news week. I feel like we're just scratching the surface right now.
6 to midnight. Here we go.
Baskin-Robbins new flavor of the month for March. Mexican chocolate brownie. It's got a little cinnamon in it to give it a little kick, and also some Oreo pieces and some Mexican brownie batter swirls. This thing looks unbelievable. I feel like I gotta go get it. I don't know if I have a Baskin-Robbins by me, so I'm gonna have to look into that. But I'm definitely interested in a little Mexican chocolate brownie.
I love it. I love something different. That's something totally different. I love it. Ooh, man, I love cinnamon. We're big cinnamon fans in this house, so give it to me.
Now, JoeMeZ, I know you're a big ice cream guy, so why stop at Baskin-Robbins when I can tell you about something coming up at Cold Stone?
Oh, you know it's my place, Joe. I love me some Cold Stone. What are we doing?
We're in March, so we're getting ready for St. Patty's Day in just a couple weeks, and Cold Stone is blessing us with count them, 2 Lucky Charms creations.
Yes! Yes!
We have an ice cream option and a shake option. The ice cream is called Ice Cream at the End of the Rainbow. It's made with Lucky Charms ice cream with double the marshmallows, whipped
Oh,
topping, and gold glitter. And you can get it in either a green waffle cone, that way you complete the St. Patty's Day deal, or a green bowl.
Oh my! I'm on the
But-
Cold Stone app right now. Let me see. When is this available?
It should be out relatively soon, if not already.
Oh, baby.
But if you're more of a shake person rather than an ice cream person, Cold Stone has you covered as well. It's there already.
It's available.
There you go. Why do you have the Cold Stone app? How often do you go to Cold Stone?
A lot, bro. We love cold. We Cold Stone people. You order it on the app and you walk in, you pick it up, bro. It's the best. Come on.
I've never used the app. I like going in and watching it created in front of me.
Yeah, I do, but sometimes it gets crazy in there. Cold Stone be popping off sometimes.
I think Cold Stone has been my place to go like near the end of a date. Like not necessarily like don't get dessert at the end of dinner, but then go to a Cold Stone and kind of just sit off to the side and watch them make your ice cream and talk and ask about your day and some things about you. Tell me about your childhood. What were you into? Where did your daddy touch you? Stuff like that.
Bro, you take me to Cold Stone, those panties are dropping.
But the shake is called Sprinkled with Charms Shake. It's Lucky Charms ice cream with the whipped topping, gold glitter, and the Lucky Charms marshmallows as well. And I said, you know what? JoeMeZ has been my friend for a long time now, almost 25 years.
It's crazy.
So I don't want to stop giving him good news now.
Holy shit.
JoeMeZ, how do you feel about a new pancake of the month at IHOP?
I haven't been to IHOP in a while. Give me a reason to go to IHOP, please. Let's go.
Now, I don't think you're going to be as excited as the ice cream, but they are doing a limited time Girl Scouts Thin Mint pancakes for the month of March.
I'm with it. I got Thin Mints right here. Where is it? Somewhere here. It's Girl Scout season.
You legit have them at arm's reach?
I think, yes, right here, actually. Thin Mint things right here. It's green, so you can't really see with the screen. But yeah. I'm big Girl Scout. I love Girl Scout season. It's the best. Just give me.
I just had a Girl Scout cookie delivery like last week or the week before. Those cookies did not last very long. So here's the issue. I got really drunk one night and I wanted something to snack on. Someone had posted a link to buy Girl Scout cookies. Yeah. And in my head, I thought if I ordered them that minute,
the instant,
they would just come to me. And they didn't.
Only.
So I spent $100 on Girl Scout cookies to fill an urge that did not get satisfied by the end of the evening.
3 weeks later. What the fuck is this? That's a nice surprise. Bro, if 3 weeks later I got a big box of fucking Girl Scout cookies, I'd be so happy.
Now, I don't necessarily buy Girl Scout cookies all the time, so I don't really follow the Girl Scout cookies things. When I was a kid, my favorite was the tag-alongs, the little peanut butter ones, and they still have those.
Those too, yep.
Yeah, they still have them. Wouldn't be my favorite today. I love I guess you call them the trefoils or the trefoils.
Yeah,
the shortcake cookies. Mm-hmm. Oh man, those are delightful. But now they got s'mores, they got chocolate, the s'mores, little brownie bite ones.
The brownie one is good too. Yep. The brownie.
I don't love them. I thought I was gonna like them a lot
They could
more.
be better. Yes.
Yes.
They could be better, but it's good enough.
But those shortcake cookies, man, those are fucking where it's at.
Oh yeah, I love Girl Scout cookies. I'm the s'mores, especially because Oreo, they don't bring it back every year. It's like a special thing for Oreos to bring back the s'mores. So I get it in the Girl Scout cookie version. I think it's just as good. It's pretty damn good. Oh, this is my third delivery. I've had 3 orders of Girl Scout cookies.
Now, JoeMeZ, after we recorded last week, this news broke like an hour after we recorded.
News.
And this sent shockwaves through the fast food world.
Yes,
Wendy's CEO announced that they were going to start charging surge prices on burgers depending on how crowded the restaurants were. Now,
Too
I only
bad.
read the headline at first, so I didn't think too
Yes,
much of it
me
because I
too.
just saw surge pricing and I'm like,
It's like, this is
I,
so
d-
stupid. What?
I thought it just
Yeah.
applied to delivery orders. Like that's the way I took the headline, so I didn't even think much of it. And then I was getting besieged by messages of people saying, I need to hear your thoughts on this. And then I had to go actually read the article. And no, this guy just wants to constantly have fluctuating prices in store on the menu, depending on how like if I go for lunch during the lunch rush, I get upcharged for that. Like
Yeah,
it's like
imagine.
taking the train where I gotta wait for off-peak hours to go get a baconator.
100%. Yep. It's the NASDAQ over here. That's
This was
ridiculous.
one of the dumbest things I have ever heard in my entire life.
Insane. It's a terrible idea. And he wanted to spend $25 million to install boards across.
Boards
Like,
with changing prices.
how is spending that? Like, what the fuck? It's bad enough you want to raise the prices. I want to gouge you when you come in. You know how many people just walk the fuck out? Who was walking into Burger King seeing, oh, burgers are $14 now and going, I guess I'm getting a burger. Suck my dick. Get out of here.
And then the blowback to this statement was so loud that he had to walk them back like 2 days later. Oh no, we're constantly just coming up with ideas and evaluating our business, but this is not something that my man got fucking spanked. Now the question asks, is it something they put out there just to get Wendy's in the news? Because despite the sentiment, not all publicity is good publicity. And now, without this surge pricing, I find Wendy's to be very expensive in comparison to the other fast food spots.
Yes.
And now, with the fact that they want to upcharge me even further, and you don't put something like that out there unless you do want to do it. The fact that you want to charge me even more makes me less apt to say, you know what I haven't had in a while? Wendy's. Let's go over there and get a spicy chicken sandwich.
I agree. If I'm not getting like a 2 for $5 nuggets or something, I try not to go because I don't want to spend $12 on a meal. The chicken is good, the burger is good, but still, I don't want to spend $15 just for myself to get lunch at Wendy's. Come on, what are we doing, bro?
I feel like if you get a large size combo,
it's
and
like
then
$12, right?
maybe you get a cookie or something on the side, or a junior bacon cheeseburger. A junior bacon cheeseburger is like $3.50 now.
Yeah, it's supposed to be $1, bro. It's supposed to be $1.29. Like, what are we like? What?
So it's without even thinking, you're spending $16-17 at fucking Wendy's.
Yeah, that's why I always hesitate. I'm like, I'm hungry, but I'll just wait till I get home, eat some bread, get out of here.
So this CEO, and I don't know his name, he's a fucking corporate piece of shit, so fuck him. Obviously an asshole. Obviously, needs to be put in place by this. I hope he lost his job legitimately. Like, we can sit here and say, oh, you never want to see anyone lose their job. That's fucking bullshit.
Bullshit.
It really is. I want to see a lot of people lose their jobs because people need to know that there are consequences. When there's no consequences, people think they can say what they want, act how they want, be how they want. There needs to be some sort of rules and regulations and some sort of standards for the way you do your job. If you do a bad job, you are not entitled to continue to do that job simply because you keep showing up.
It's true, baby.
And that's what I feel this guy at Wendy's, I don't know, maybe he's not a bad person, but at some point, the reckoning is going to come for the corporations. We are getting closer to that moment every day. And people are being held down by having to work for them, but there's going to come a point where people have had enough. And every day, the chatter gets louder. And social media just amplifies those voices because it gives them an outlet to quote unquote rage against the machine. And people like Wendy's, man, are going to have to deal with fucking stupid statements.
Bro, I think, and also see, right, it was like from a board meeting or something. It was from like a press meeting. So they didn't even want that out there, but it was like on the earnings call. So they had to talk about some plans that they were coming up because it's true. You cannot announce that and think this is good. This is gonna be good for business.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see. I can't wait to see it. Like if the next earnings report, they're like, "Oh man, we fucked up." Just talking about it, the sales are down, and this. And
I
that,
hope
you know?
so. I hope so. I hope Wendy's takes a big hit now because loose lips sink ships.
Yep. Fuck around, find out, bro.
That's it for the food news, JoeMeZ. But there was a little news about a property I'm very passionate about. The world of Masters of the Universe and
That's
He-Man.
correct. Yes, that's right.
Travis Knight, who was the director of Bumblebee, is now in talks. He's basically attached to direct the upcoming Mattel Masters of the Universe feature film project. It's not official, but it's said to be very close.
Pretty
And
close,
it sounds like Amazon is in the final stages to acquiring the rights to the property to put it into production, which makes me say, I don't care. Just fucking put it out there. I'm tired.
I think this is good news because Amazon spends money on their things. You know, they're not scared to spend the money. So, you know, you might not get 7 sequels or something, but you're gonna get one movie that they put their fucking money into, and I hope it works out for you. I hope you get that like yes. You know,
I'll believe it when I see it.
Of
A lot of
course, I
false
understand.
finishes with this He-Man movie project over
it's been
a
a long
decade
time.
now. Like it really
a decade, bro, forever.
Exactly.
It's been what was the movie? 89? When that movie come out?
87.
87, bro. That's a long
But I'm
time
saying
ago.
the serious talks for He-Man movie discussions
Sure.
have been literally over a decade now. I'll believe it when I see it. But one more piece of news, not just news, but news for nudes, JoeMeZ.
Ooh, baby.
Sexy
What we got here?
news. Naked news.
Ooh.
Naked gun news.
Ooh.
Liam Neeson
Baby.
is about to appear as the new lead in a reboot of the Naked Gun series. We'll see if it ends up being a series, but they are rebooting the property. Thumbs up, thumbs down, thumbs in the middle, JoeMeZ.
Kind of in the middle. Like, you know, this has been a rumor. Apparently it's filmed already. It's set for release, which is like crazy to me. There's no cast announced or nothing. I have no clue.
But the release date wasn't until like April of next year.
Next year, everything's next year, post-production and stuff. But it said it was filming complete when I looked it up, but doesn't mean it was proper. But I like Liam Neeson as the guy. If you look on IMDb, it says Frank Drebin Jr. So I guess he's playing the son,
Leslie
obviously,
Nielsen's son.
of Leslie Nielsen. You know, I think he's a good straight man, and when he does comedy, I think he's very good. There's lots of clips online of shows he's done, movies he's done. He's very funny. I think
he was extremely funny in The Phantom Menace. That was one of the best comedies of the past century, right? 99. Does that we'll count it as part of this century?
That counts.
Very funny movie.
I'm excited. We've mentioned, right? Does a movie like that play? You know, those scary
That's
movies.
the issue. Does that
like
tone of humor
while.
work in today's world? You brought up a show called Angie Tribeca from about 2016 or so.
Yeah.
That was supposed to be like our type of show, right? People who love the Naked Gun, people who love that style of comedy. And you and I both watched it, and I believe it's one of our very, very early episodes, maybe like 4 or 5 in all honesty. And we both hated it.
Hated it, bro. And it is just the same style of over the top joke, just throwing jokes at you a minute, you know, and we like the people in the movie, you know, we love Rashida Jones. We got no problem with her, and we was not feeling it. So I don't know. Maybe it's just, you know, we watch Naked Gun and we still laugh. Are we laughing because it's our thing?
Yeah.
We remember, right? We talked about that. If we show someone younger.
And we're going to talk about some nostalgia later on that comes into question, I think. But before we get to that, your double main man, JoeMeZ, Sting.
Oh, yeah.
Sting had his last match at AEW Revolution this weekend. I'm not a big Sting guy. I think you're a bigger Sting guy than me.
Yeah, but even that, I like a little more because, you know, I watch TNA and stuff. So I got a little more Sting in my life than you. But yeah, I think, Sting's not in my top 10, 20. Like, it's a long time before I mentioned, you know who I really love? Sting.
Now, Sting definitely has a following, definitely has a
Sure.
legacy. He's done basically 40 years
He's had a
of
great career, bro. One of the
amazing
best.
career. But it to me, and this is just, listen, region plays a factor here. I grew up in WWE territory. I didn't have cable. But because I was first exposed to WWE and sports entertainment, WCW always felt Bush League to me. And even by the time I got back into wrestling in my teens, when the NWO was hot, Sting kind of felt like a hapless joke to me against the NWO. The NWO were kicking everybody's ass, were cool, and Sting was like this guy who was just like, all right, can't beat him, join him. I'm just going to join the NWO now, like Wolfpack. Ow.
Ow. That's true. Like, it's not fair to say, but yes, to us, WWF, that was the big time. WCW was that. Even right, you think about Saturday Night Main Event. It's a small stage, it's a small crowd. So you're watching, like, what is this little ass show here? What is
Well,
this?
not Saturday Night's Main Event, WCW.
No,
Saturday
I'm sorry. Yes, WCW Saturday Night. It was a very small, it was on like Orlando, Florida, right? It was in a little stage. So it's very small. So you look at that, and then you put on,
there's
Saturday
like 250 people in the crowd in Atlanta, Georgia. Meanwhile, you turn on WWE live from the Hoosier Dome in Indiana,
exactly. So yes,
WCW,
it always felt small to me.
Sting always feels like, the smart kid in the special needs class. And I think, to me, he hurt his legacy by he didn't hurt his legacy, but he can't be considered as this very influential guy because he wasn't. WCW didn't have that reach.
No,
not during that period. Sting might have been the number one merch seller, but it's in WCW. Sting might have been the top babyface, but it's in WCW. Everything he does to me has an asterisk next to it. And even his Crow character, I look at it and I go, big fucking deal. He ripped off a movie. And I understand people rip off things all the time, but it wasn't even something that was originally his. Like, he could have been this dark, brooding character against the NWO and wondering why Lex Luger thinks Sting would beat him up. But, like, it didn't have to be the Crow. Why did it have to be the Crow? And this is all stuff like as a fan, as a pure fan, I kind of hold against Sting.
I get it. And then when he reinvents himself, it's Joker Crow. And he just does the Joker lines.
So once again, it's one of those things. If you're a Sting fan, if you're a WCW fanboy, listen, you have your opinions, you have your memories. Nothing I say is going to be changing how you feel about Sting. In certain ways, even I sit here and go, wow, that's pretty fucking sad that Sting's not going to be around anymore. He's a staple of the wrestling business. I've never heard anyone say anything bad about Sting. I've met Sting. He was very nice in the pocket of times that I've gotten to meet him. It was just casual kind of, hey, nice to meet you type stuff. But, so I got nothing bad to say about him as a person. I'm just, as a fan, under no circumstance do I even consider him to be on that kind of top tier impact of the, and Eric Bischoff even said it when Bischoff on his podcast, 83 Weeks with Conrad, they covered Starrcade 96. And that's the big one, right?
97.
Sting's finally 97. He's finally going to get the comeuppance. Number one, the finish is blown. The referee doesn't do a slow count. And then Bret Hart comes out. Oh, this isn't going to happen. Number one, okay, that was stupid. But like, Sting's not in shape. He like lost a lot of mass and he didn't have a fucking tan. He looked like shit. The biggest, and I don't know what was going on in his personal life at the time. Apparently there was a lot going on. And I get it. We're all human. And like, believe me, I've got my own issues that make going to work difficult. I get that. But when you're a performer at that level, in a position like that Starrcade match, which has been built to, and this is going to be the pinnacle moment for Sting's, and to me, that's probably still the biggest match of Sting's career outside of maybe the first Clash of the Champions that put him on the map.
I was just gonna ask you, if not counting Ric Flair matches, what's Sting's big match? Like, what's his like match that would like, man, what's my favorite Sting?
Exactly. I can't even tell you. Like mine might be the one where Vampiro lights him on fire and he falls off the stage, and the stuntman who takes the bump off the stage, the wig falls off, and because in my head everything in wrestling has to make sense. I say the intensity of the flames was such that it burned Sting's scalp to the point where his entire hair just fell off as he was falling off the top of the Nitrotron. I can't like, what did he do? He had a lot of matches in TNA. Sting is that guy. In a lot of ways, he's Cody Rhodes, right? Nothing he does is outwardly bad.
Sure, I agree.
I never walk away from Sting being wowed.
Yes, I agree. 100%. That's the perfect way to describe Cody. I don't hate him. I don't get it, but I don't go, I go, oh, yeah, that was a good promo. Oh, yeah, that was a good match. But then that's it. On to the next thing. What's next? So, yeah, Sting. Please, people in the Facebook group, what's your favorite Sting match? That's not Ric Flair. I don't want to hear Ric Flair 89. I want to hear WCW, NWO. I want to hear TNA, something else. What did Sting do that was like, damn, this was good?
Now, I will say this. When he does finally go to WWE, they didn't do him any favors there.
No,
number one, that match with Triple H was hot garbage. Never should have happened. There was no one on the planet that said, you know what I really want? Sting versus Triple H.
Sting is signed to WWE. Yes, finally, we get the dream matches we've been waiting for. First up, Triple H. What? Like what?
And then it doesn't even become about Sting and Triple H. It becomes about DX versus NWO. Meanwhile, Sting is the NWO's number one enemy.
Number one enemy, hanging out with Triple H's best friends.
Triple H's best friends who were just on stage at the Hall of Fame the night before jerking each other off.
It's so stupid, bro. It's so dumb. Terrible.
And there are a lot of people who love that for the moment of seeing all those guys kind of face off against each other. I'm not even kidding when I say this. That is the moment I stopped watching wrestling. I shut off WrestleMania in the middle of the show, said this is fucking ridiculous, and I'm done. And I've never gone back to regularly watching wrestling since. That one segment infuriated me to the point where I said, I'm fucking done with this.
I remember, bro. I remember.
You could have given me Sting Undertaker with no buildup.
That's what people wanted. That's what we all wanted.
And I would have been like, whether it was good or bad, at least, you know what? At least we did get to see it. Whatever. Fine. But to go to Sting Triple H, and I don't know, like, if Sting wasn't feeling himself or wasn't in great shape, and they felt that they needed all the gaga around it. They needed to give it that panache by putting all the bullshit around it. I don't know. I wasn't there. But the fact is, WWE did Sting no favors outside of the way they merged him. They did that WWE 2K commercial where they announced he was going to be in the game of the orchestra playing the Sting music. Yep. And they turn up and they all got the face paint. Badass. Badass. That might be the best thing he did in WWE.
Can't remember much. To me, like, he was there for like a month in my head, but he was there for a few months. But I don't remember much of what he did.
Now he does end up getting hurt, so obviously that changes, the equation here.
Obviously. Ended his career for a long time,
But even at that point, he was 50 years old.
Yeah, I think he's turning 65 this year.
Exactly. For him to still be as active as he is.
Yes, he don't look bad in the matches. He looks decent.
For all the amount that we shit on AEW, let's give them a little credit here for the way they handled Sting.
Yes, did a great job.
They kept him special when they did use him in the little bits that I saw. He would do like a big dive. He was in these multi-man matches.
Yes, he always did something when you go, damn, Sting, okay.
Even that bit I remember seeing him do with Orange Cassidy.
Yes,
was one of the fun. Just for the fact that I know Sting takes his anyone who's ever followed wrestling knows Sting takes his character very seriously. And that is one of those things that I'm watching it going, I can't believe this motherfucker's like bought into this bit. I'm glad he did because it's funny.
It's funny. Yeah, it's funny.
And it's one of those things you'll remember because it's, you know, it's the fish out of
It's
water.
different.
Sting doing that kind of bit with someone that you never even expect Sting to associate with.
No, never in a million years, bro.
Let's give AEW their flowers a little bit for the way they handled Sting here.
They did the build up, the video packages they did, the presentation of everything afterward. They did a great job. They did. They really, it was nice. Like, it was like, I was like, oh, this is a nice thing to see. Like, it was the main event of the pay-per-view. They built the show around them. It wasn't just like a throw off to the side. This was what the people were here for, and they gave it to them. It was great. Good job.
Well, I'm glad to hear that. I didn't watch the show. Listen, we know
it's a regular pay-per-view. You ain't watching AEW pay-per-view.
And then even as an outsider looking in, who may have been casually interested in watching the show just to see Sting's last match, I looked at the lineup for the rest of the show and I go, half these guys I don't know and half I have no interest in. So as a very casual observer who may have tuned in just to see the Sting match, there wasn't even anything else there where I'm like, oh, I'm going to dedicate some time and watch this show, pay the $50 or however much it is to watch the pay-per-view. Now, for the people who do watch AEW, supposedly this was a show they were all juiced up about.
Yes, I was. A banger card, bro. Hell yeah. Top to bottom.
I'm not here to watch wrestling.
That's fine. I'm here to watch wrestling, so I'm excited. And I got it. Card was great. Great show last night.
I also think these shows are too long.
It was 4 hours. They do 4-hour shows. That's
4 hours is too long.
But that's what WWE does too. They do 4-hour pay-per-views.
4 hours is too long. I don't care who does it. Jesus Christ himself could come down and run a wrestling show.
But
and if
that's
he does
any place, indie show, everything is about 4 hours now.
But I'm saying I think that's too long.
If you space it, I think 4 hours. 4 hours, I think, is the cutoff. Anything more, you could do a good show. Sometimes you watch these AEW shows and it feels fucking 7 hours, and then sometimes it's nice, quick, and easy. I think 4 hours is plenty of wrestling because they've done some 4, 5, 6. That's too much. Those 8-hour WrestleManias,
entirely too long. Like, just ridiculous.
Ruin things. Yeah.
But the argument for it is the fact that, well, TV is 2 hours, so the pay-per-view has to be more than TV, right?
Yeah.
And 4 hours by that standard doesn't seem so out of touch. But watching anything for 4 hours, Oppenheimer is a good movie, but
it's true.
Yes, 2 hour point, I'm fucking done.
No, it's true. Yes, 4 hours is a lot to dedicate for something. 9 matches, 10 matches. That's a lot of matches. It is.
6 matches in and out like a bank robbery.
That was Elimination Chamber. That 4 matches. Bing, bam, boom. Let's go.
So JoeMeZ, outside of the AEW Revolution pay-per-view, I did get into one other thing that was kind of off the beaten path. I hear all these people right now talking about a show on HBO called True Detective.
Oh, really? Okay.
Well, they're in the middle of season 4 right now.
Season 4 just wrapped up.
I've never watched True Detective, but I've heard about it through the years.
Really? Okay.
And a lot of it, this is a Joe thing. This is a me problem. Sure. I'll admit to this. Many times when it comes to starting a new show or anything that's going to have some length to it, I say, I'm not in the mood for anything too heavy. I want something easy, something I only have to pay half attention to. I'm on my phone. I'm posting on social media. I'm doing other things. I'm not looking for something that I really got to pay attention to and follow along with. But I've heard so much about True Detective over the years, and people right now seem to be loving this current season, that I said, you know what? Let me go back. Let me find out what it's about. Because I don't obviously I know it's a detective story, but that's pretty much begins and ends my knowledge of this show.
Sure.
So I went back. I watched from season 1. I watched all of season 1 this weekend. And it's got Woody Harrelson and Matthew McConaughey. So right off the bat, I'm invested because these are 2 guys I like and I enjoy, Woody Harrelson especially.
Yes.
And man, the writing on this show the performances in this one season, it's 8 episodes of season 1.
Fantastic
This was a
season.
hell of a season of television.
Fantastic season of television. Yes, sir. Matthew McConaughey and the two of them playing off of each other is just so fucking good, bro. Oh, it's great.
So
it's good.
Now I'm like, can't wait to start season 2, but I didn't want to like just start it and then like get kind of caught up and who knows when I get back to it. But I watched all 8 episodes kind of bing, bing, bing with over a 2-day span. And man, I was so impressed with the writing, the way each episode is a full hour, with no commercials, a full hour. And I'm sitting there, I'm trying to figure out the twists and the turns. The case that they're working on is fucked up. And I'm more and more details as we peel back the layers of the onion, as they say, I'm going, oh shit, but could this guy be what if it's and I'm coming at it from all angles, and it was fucking wild. And if you haven't seen True Detective, I assume a lot of people have seen True Detective because it's a very popular show. I'm just the guy who's just now discovering this happens sometimes. Yes. But man, what a great season of television.
Yeah, and it was great because it was a weekly show. So every week you get a little piece of that pie and you're just like, yo, what the fuck is going on in this show? Like, it's fucking crazy. Yeah. That, and also people lost their minds when they do like the one-shot scene where they go in and out of the houses, like during the raid scene. It's like a continuous shot. Oh my god, we lost our minds when we saw that shit. It was spectacular. Just so you know, every season is totally different.
Yes, this is what I was going to say.
Actor, everything is totally different. So season 2, I enjoy season 2. Well, a lot of people say it's the worst season, but it's just different. It's a different kind of story.
Now, the show Fargo is like that as well, where it's a totally different cast, a totally different story.
Totally different. It just takes place in Fargo.
That kind of got me out of Fargo. So I got to see how I feel, because I watched season 1 of Fargo, and I really liked it. Yeah, really good.
I didn't love season 2.
And that's the thing. I started season 2, and because it was all new people, and I wasn't really feeling the story, that I kind of just left it and never went back to it.
Yeah, I'm trying to think if we finished season 2, maybe. And then season 3, I think, was with Ewan McGregor, I believe, where he's playing 2 roles.
Oh, hello there.
Hello there. We didn't, we watched one episode, we weren't feeling it. But season 4, it's doing good. Season 4 that just came out. And this is True Detective season 4 that just wrapped up with, what's her name, Jodie Foster. I've been waiting to watch it. It just ended about a week ago. I've been waiting for it to drop so we could watch it all in one shot. Because, stuff like that. You either want to be into the mystery every week or you just want to bang it out. We figured, let's just bang this one out here.
Okay.
So I'm excited. Season 2 is good. It's got Vince Vaughn. I think Vince Vaughn does a very good job.
Oh.
Yes. Vince Vaughn's underrated when he does his non-comedic stuff. I think he's very good in his dramatic roles. He has a very
I thought he was really good at the shot-by-shot remake of Psycho where he jerks off in the shower.
Hey, that wasn't shot for shot. They added one scene. Someone jerking off.
As much as Vince Vaughn has done that I actually enjoy, right? That's what I will always think of when the name Vince Vaughn comes up.
Because that was like, I remember that too. That was the fact that they were remaking Psycho. Was like, really? And then it was, he's going to do a shot for, and we're like, a shot for shot remake? What?
And that point, what's the point at that point?
Like, what's the point? Like, that's where it's silly. Like I'm not against remakes, but a shot for shot, I don't understand why we're doing it then. Just watch it.
Just watch the original. Exactly. It exists.
Just watch the original. It exists. So what? Because it's not in color, go fuck yourself. It's okay. But yeah, that jerking off in the and that was the thing, because it was shot for shot. Except for that, because that's obviously not in the movie. In the movie, he's just watching through the mirror, but here it's like, no, we want to make sure he's fucking whacking it, bro. Oh, the things we got worked up in back in the day. It was great. That was craziness back then. Vince Vaughn's jerking off in the movie.
Gomez, one of the things our group got fired up about this week was a new movie over on Netflix. Kind of a sci-fi drama. And when you think sci-fi dramas, there's only one actor who could possibly be associated with such a thing, right? Who is that man?
Of course. Sci-fi. It's like Patrick Stewart, or maybe someone like William Shatner. It's got to be someone like that, right? Space. I always think of those guys.
See, when I think sci-fi, the only person that I associate with it, the brand name in science fiction, is Adam Sandler.
Of course. How can I let that slip my mind? Yes, of course. The fantastic sci-fi actor,
Like
Adam
Arn
Sandler.
Anderson announcing the Four Horsemen. What a goof! What a goof! Adam Sandler, you're the fourth horseman.
Fucking duh. Adam Sandler in a dramatic sci-fi movie. God bless Netflix, bro. Giving us what we want.
So this movie is called Spaceman. It is a Netflix movie. Sandler's out here doing the thing.
Doing his thing.
You watched this movie, correct?
I did, because I turned it on and it was like the big thing of the Netflix. As soon as you turn on Netflix, they're like, hey, bro, we got a new Adam Sandler. I said, oh, a new Adam Sandler. And then I look and said, sci-fi drama. What the fuck?
So here's the thing. I turn on Netflix and I see Adam Sandler in space with what appears to be the giant spider from Wild Wild West. And I'm going, this is a movie for me. So the first thing I do is post about it in our Facebook group, and someone goes, but like, that's the thing. I noticed it said, like drama or whatever. And I'm like, oh, this is maybe they misspelled comedy here. But so I wrote in the group like, oh, there's a sci-fi drama with the Sandman on Netflix. And people were responding, really weird movie. I don't know if it's good or not.
Weird
and I'm
was
going,
the thing moved. Yep.
And I go, wait 1 second. You don't know if you like people who had already watched it were like, I don't know if I liked it or not. Now I have to fucking watch this movie.
Yeah, of course.
So I did. And JoeMeZ, 2 hours later, I can't tell you if I like this movie or not.
Weird is the word to describe it. They will not get it. It's a weird fucking movie. It's Adam Sandler by himself pretty much for this movie, talking to a little CGI spider, a big CGI spider.
It is very slow, feels very long. It's very deliberate with what it's doing. Yes. It's to get you in the headspace of a very lonely person who goes on a space mission for a very long extended period of time by himself, and he's supposed to come back with moon rocks and all this shit so they can experiment on it. But before he does, he gets into this fight with his wife for never being present enough. And now as he's in space, what makes him good to do this mission is the fact that he basically doesn't get lonely, is catching up with him. Now he's never felt more alone in his life because he's always dedicated himself to his work. But now he's realizing what's supposed to be really important in life. So I think it has a good message to it. Don't take, these things for granted. But in the way that it's presented, man, it fucking takes fucking forever to get there.
The movie is 1 hour and 47 minutes. It might feel a lot longer.
It feels a hell of a lot longer.
It is under 2 hours, but you feel it, bro. Because like I said, it's a lot of Adam Sandler just kind of brooding in space. Like he's just there doing his thing. But yeah, is it good? I think it's good. Not good. I think it's okay. I think it's worth your time, especially if you're interested to see Adam Sandler do something different, right? Like it's fun to watch Comedy Boy try to do something different because it's very different. There's no laughs here. It's not like
there's none.
Secret comedy. Like there's not like it's a secret. Oh, that was funny. Like Oppenheimer's fucking funny. Like there's some funny moments in Oppenheimer. You're cracking up.
But like Sandler has done this to us before, where he like at least this one's not like a bait and switch, like Funny People, which they legit said is named Funny People and could not be further from the truth.
Give it a watch, though. I would say give it a watch if you're interested in something weird.
You seem to like it enough to at least make it worth your while. I genuinely don't know what side of the fence I come on. If I had to just gun to my head, pick a side, I'm gonna lean toward no. Like, don't watch it. Like, if you're on the fence, I would lean toward no. But it's like the seesaw of the up and down. Like, I kind of like it. I kind of don't. I kind of want this to be over. I could go another. And then even by the time he has the epiphany of what becomes important in life, I'm like, man, you're supposed to be so fucking smart to be an astronaut. I think you could have figured this out on your own without the help from a fucking giant spider.
The movie is weird, and I will always go to bat for a weird movie. I always be like, yeah, watch that weird movie. So it's a fucking weird movie. So I'm like, yeah, thank you for having a weird movie, Adam Sandler, because this is definitely not something you would expect Adam Sandler to be in. Totally weird.
And
Enough about
Gomez,
spiders. Get out of here.
Enough about spiders. Let's get to some ducks, because that's going to bring us to our March Madness sports movie bracket. And this week, we are in the hockey region to discuss the Mighty Ducks from 1992, as well as Miracle from 2004. Both of these are Disney movies available on Disney Plus if you want to go back and watch them. If you haven't already, you should have. We told you last week we were going to watch them. So you should have them fresh on the old noodle. And Gomez, which do you want to start with?
I think let's start with Mighty Ducks because we've done a Mighty Ducks episode before. You can go into our archives and check that out. So, I think the Mighty Ducks, we can spend a little bit of time here to talk about it. Miracle, I think there's a little bit more to say.
Mighty Ducks comes out in 1992. I remember it as kind of a smash hit.
Yes.
Which is odd because I didn't see it in theaters. I saw it like immediately when it came to VHS. And in my mind, that's when it became a smash hit.
I want to say this. I don't remember seeing I think I saw the second one in movie theaters, not the first one. I do. I think it was a VHS when it finally came out. I was like, oh, Mighty Ducks is out. And then he wore the shit out of the VHS.
Runs an hour and 44 minutes. IMDb gives it a 6.6. Rotten Tomatoes, a 23% fresh.
Oh, damn.
With an audience score of 65%.
Okay.
Now, I say I kind of remember it being a hit because that must be the way I'm remembering it. Is you got the VHS and everybody wore the shit out of the VHS.
I was talking about it. It was the thing.
Quoting it and, everything. The box office is good on this movie. It had a budget of $10 million and made $50.7 million at the box office. So big return on investment there. But for some reason, I feel like it was a real thing. It just felt like one of those movies that everybody you knew had not only seen, but could quote.
I wonder if maybe that was good for a kid's movie, in 92 right there.
Like a non-animated kids movie. Yeah.
Like maybe that was a good thing because I felt there was just commercials all the time. You're seeing the ads, you're seeing it everywhere. Like I do. I feel like 55, like I guess that's good. But yeah, I would have thought of way more than that.
Now, what I will credit this movie for is for boosting the interest in the game of hockey. Because,
of course,
especially at that point, hockey was very, very much the fourth most popular North American sport, and it was a very distant fourth. And yet, when this movie came out, me, who had never been on a pair of skates before in my life, who never had cable, so I never really watched hockey. But between this and the Sega Genesis coming out at the time with the EA Sports NHL games, all of a sudden, like, I needed to have hockey in my life. And I give this movie, along with the confluence of those games coming out at the same time, making me want to go buy some rollerblades and play hockey. And I think another big thing for us living in New York was only a couple of years later, the Rangers won the Stanley Cup, probably for the last time in their history. They'll never do it again. But at the time, it was the first time in 54 years. So interest in hockey kind of permeated throughout the culture in New York for that time. So a bunch of kids all of a sudden wanted to pick up rollerblades and play in the street. There was a lot of street hockey games going on in Queens at the time. I could tell you that.
Yes, 100%. That Ranger season, that was the first season I watched hockey. My stepdad had started dating my mom around that time. So, like, he was like, oh, I like hockey. Let's watch the Rangers. So we watched the Rangers that season. So, yeah, that's what got me into hockey. I agree, though, right? There's no hockey movies. Like, that's perfect. Like, you want kids to get into hockey, have a kids' hockey movie. Like, The Sandlot. Who doesn't want to play baseball after you watch The Sandlot? Who don't want to play hockey after you watch Mighty Ducks? You know what I mean?
Who doesn't want to go to White Castle after you watch Harold and Kumar?
It's the truth, though. That shit works. So for Dumpton, like this, like what's the last hockey movie for a younger audience? Is it like Mystery Alaska? Like, is that like for real?
Even
like,
that's not really a younger crowd. But it's one of these things where I think we're going to have this discussion at the end of the month and really discuss, like, does the game translate to filmmaking? You know, last week I said with Blue Chips, I feel like you're not able to capture a lot of the suspense and the excitement of the actual basketball itself in the movie Blue Chips. And I don't know whether that's because of the difficulty of capturing the sport itself, or whether that's just a filmmaker thing, where maybe the director isn't in tune enough with the game to be able to capture.
That's true too. If you don't know how the game, the ebbs and flow of the game, that's true. Especially something like hockey. Hockey's a very fast paced, always moving. I get that. Hard to film, yeah.
For me at this time, when I'm watching the Mighty Ducks, I'm 10 years old when I first see it. I'm basically right at the same age of these kids in this movie. And I vividly remember thinking, I would have loved to be one of the kids in this movie.
Of course. Hell yeah.
Like at that point, like it just seemed like being a Mighty Duck would have been the coolest thing.
100%. They seem cool, just playing some street hockey, and all of a sudden, here they are playing the big time boys. Love it.
And so let's get into the movie. The IMDb description, very vague.
Okay, so what's this? What does it say here?
A self-centered Minnesota lawyer is sentenced to community service coaching a ragtag youth hockey team.
All right, but that's basic. That's the story. What else would you add there? That's pretty much it.
I don't know about you, but I question a judicial system which takes drunk drivers and puts them around children.
I'm not gonna lie. Of all the community service things to do, being around children, you're reckless. You should you don't have good judgment. Now let's teach children. I agree.
So we get Emilio Estevez here playing Gordon Bombay, Lane Smith, who constantly pops up in a lot of the movies. I think we last spoke about him around Thanksgiving because he's the dad and son-in-law.
Oh,
but
yes. That's
he's
right.
also the other lawyer in My Cousin Vinny. And in this movie, he's the evil Coach Riley.
Oh, I love it.
We get Joshua Jackson playing Charlie Conway. Eldon Henson is the Fulton Reed, the goon here. And for years, I felt like this guy didn't do anything except the Mighty Ducks. And then all of a sudden he popped up decades after the fact on the Daredevil show. That was a Netflix show.
It's true. Foggy Nelson out of nowhere. I said, what? It's true. He's definitely one of those, like, where the fuck this guy been?
We also get Jussie Smollett as Terry Hall here, who would go on from being mentored by someone who had to do community service to being forced to do community service on his own. You didn't know where I was going with that one, did you? Guys?
I was wondering where Jussie Smollett was going to end up. There's a lot of ways we could have took it.
And I think someone else notable in this is Marguerite Moreau, who plays Connie Moreau. She was one of these girls who, after this movie, started popping up in a lot of those teen-centric shows and movies of the time. Never as the lead, but like as the other girl. She'd pop up in Boy Meets World for an episode here or there. Kind of like the girl Gia from Full House. And for some reason, her name is escaping me right now, even though Marla Sokoloff. Sokoloff was one of those girls. She would pop up an episode here or there. She'd be one of the supporting high school girls there, the best friend of the guy who wants to get with the cool girl. And that's Marguerite Moreau. She pops up in so many of these things. One of those you definitely know her if you see her, and maybe even have a crush on her because you recognize her from that one thing she did way back when with that other guy that you actually went to saw the movie for was in. But JoeMeZ, the question that everybody asks when they watch the Mighty Ducks for the first time: what the fuck is a cake eater? Can you
No
tell
clue.
me, young Gomez, what a cake eater is?
I don't remember. I think we did this. I don't remember what it is. No. Tell me.
So we're probably going to have to call in our double main man, Joey Hudson. He's a Minnesota guy. But I did a little research.
Oh, baby.
And apparently, it is a Minnesota term which refers to residents of Edina, a suburb of Minneapolis. Basically, you're so rich that you can have your cake and eat it too, which is why it's reserved for like the guys on the Hawks, the rich bad guys with the cool uniforms.
Bank.
Which makes a lot of sense until the final scene in the movie when Gordon Bombay is leaving to get on the Greyhound bus to go play, his tryout in the minor leagues. And as he's walking down the line, shaking all the kids' hands and wishing them well, Adam Banks looks at him and just goes, "Cake eater." What? Like, why is Adam Banks using that? He's the one who's been called a cake eater for the entire movie. Just because he basically has no interaction with Gordon Bombay, we didn't need to force this useless piece of dialogue here at the end for no 100%. Reason.
That's all it is. He's got to give it back now because now he's part of the Ducks, so now he can say it.
Watching this movie back, and it's been God knows how long since I've last watched this movie. I sat there going, this is a movie I thought was a fucking classic as a kid.
For a kid movie, this is a classic kids movie, 100%. It still is a kids movie, classic kids movie, not classic movie, kids movie.
Listen, if you could get past, and I'm going to suspend some disbelief and say, okay, Gordon Bombay was a drunk driver, maybe shouldn't be around kids, but he's a lawyer, and the only harm he really did is to himself. But I mean, drunk driving does impact the people around you, so that's not really the best justification. But I don't think he's a danger to children, is what I'm saying. So maybe having him coach a hockey team isn't really the worst thing. Let's suggest it is. He goes to get his job back, and they're like, "No, we're firing you because you want the good kid on your team. We're going to fire you from your high-powered law firm because the owner of the company is friends with the other rich guy whose kid doesn't want to play on your team." Also, getting the rich guy to sponsor the team, like, oh, yeah, we're just going to need a check for $15,000 because these kids all signed up to play in a league that they don't have equipment for. What are they doing in Minneapolis where they're letting unequipped children play a game of ice hockey? You have kids literally wearing football, like the 1970s football helmets with just a one bar on it. Like they're the field goal kicker of the Green Bay Packers in 1976. And we're letting them play ice hockey, take slap shots to the old noodle.
They didn't care about CTE back then, baby. They didn't give a fuck.
No.
That's it. Rub some dirt on it. You'll be all right.
Like most kids don't have jerseys. They're wearing hoodies. They barely have skates. How are you letting these kids suit up for these games at all?
It's ridiculous. Exactly. There's no way they would be allowed to play. They're finagling the system, bro. I don't like this shit.
And even the one guy's, the two kids' dads, like gets in the locker room at one point because Gordon Bombay is trying to teach them how to cheat. And you gotta pretend to be injured like you're an Italian soccer player. And I can say that because I am Italian. Take the fall, act hurt, get indignant. And he's like, "Oh, I gave up my overtime pay for this. Watch my kid take falls." Like, okay, like
what did he pay for?
You paid for the league. You didn't pay to get them gloves.
It's bullshit, bro. We paid for the league. That's what we pay for. It says it on the thing. When I sign up for lacrosse, it tells me you're gonna get a jersey. You're gonna pay for this. It tells you what your money goes for. Not here.
Apparently, the original script for this movie was a little darker. The original premise was that Gordon Bombay would be an ex-NHL player who developed alcoholism and says it's because of his childhood coach. So he would swear revenge on that coach and get into coaching youth hockey against him. That way he could beat him.
What fucking movie is this? This is some turd. This movie with a tongue.
And when Disney bought the script,
it
was still that movie. And then they said, we want to make this movie, but we're going to do it on a much more PG level.
Wow. I'd be interested to see that. Like I want to see that script of that evil. Oh, I'm coming to get you, motherfucker.
And the name Gordon Bombay comes from the writer of this movie sitting at his desk. He apparently was enjoying a cocktail and looked up at his drinks, and he had 2 bottles of gin next to each other. One was Gordon's and the other was Bombay.
It's a great name. Gordon Bombay, great name. It's perfect.
Yeah, I did not love this movie as much as I remember loving this movie, but I guess as a kid, it just seeing kids playing hockey and
kids seeing kids, kids seeing
hockey
kids.
felt exotic to me because I grew up in a place where there was not any, like, I can't tell you where the local ice rink was when I was a kid. I'm 42 years old. I've never ice skated once in my life. I had older cousins who lived out on Long Island and they were older than me. So they grew up during the New York Islander dynasty where hockey was a huge thing.
Sure.
And they played, I had cousins who played up to, to semi-pro hockey, but I've watched them play. I've never played hockey myself, but it got me interested in wanting to play hockey. Look at the cool equipment, look at the cool skating. Like, oh my God, I could play with like this hot Connie Moreau girl on my team. And then later on, Julie the Cat Gaffney, who was a scorch cake.
The best. Love it.
And it's also a very expensive sport. You're paying for equipment. You're paying for skates. You're paying for ice time. A lot of times there's weird hours because rinks are rented out at all times of the day. So sometimes you're going early in the morning before school or something, or late at night after, whenever it is that you can get ice time. If you play now, I have friends who still play in like men's leagues where their game is at 11:30 at night because that's when the rinks open.
We have a good family friend. They have a kid who's heavy into hockey and he's like really good. And we don't see these people. They are just, hockey is just, he misses school sometimes because he's got to travel for a tournament. He's got to do a tournament. He's got to do this. He's got to go to Canada for the weekend. I think they were just in Pittsburgh this past weekend for a tournament. They go up to Connecticut. It is insane. It's like, holy shit. Hockey it's pretty intense.
It is. And I played on travel teams when I was a kid for soccer. But there are soccer fields, places. We have fields that you can go to. Now, a lot of the times they were driving distance, sometimes over an hour, depending on where we had to go. But for hockey, and I would assume things are even on a much grander scale now than even when I was a kid, because we have the internet, the world is smaller. There's tournaments you can join online, or you can look up players, or people are watching your clips and your highlights. If you're worth a shit by 10 years old, someone somewhere is watching you, tracking you, all that stuff. So it's insane. And watching this back then, there's kind of the innocence of youth sports here, right? That still exists here. It's about kids who simply just want to play hockey.
They just want to play hockey.
They all have their own issues. It's not about getting noticed. It's not about trying to get a contract. It's just they want to be a good hockey team. And of course, we get the montage where basically they learn how to play hockey in about 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Which is crazy because this is, of all the sports, probably the one that least works with a montage for all the skill sets that go along with being an accomplished hockey player. And the one thing with this movie is they kind of endear us to the worst player on the team, right? Charlie is the spaz. They even call him Spazway. Oh, he's going to fuck up. He's the kid you feel close to. He's got the single mom. He wants his mom to start dating someone. He likes his coach. He hopes his coach dates his mom. He just wants to play hockey and have like a nice family life. And yet he's terrible, but he's the one that you end up rooting for the most, right? So it does a real good job of getting that across.
Right, Joe. Let's move on to our second movie here, Miracle.
Miracle comes out in 2004, runs about a half hour longer than The Mighty Ducks at 2 hours and 15 minutes. It is the story of the 1980 Miracle on Ice United States Olympic men's hockey team. IMDb gives it a 7.4, Rotten Tomatoes an 81%, and an audience score of 90%. a budget of $28 million, a worldwide gross of $64.5 million.
Sure.
So a success, but not on a grand scale.
Yeah,
We
but
are
that's
telling
a
based on a
USA
true
movie.
story
Yeah.
here. Very much an American movie. Really
Yeah.
didn't do much. I think it only did about $67,000
Yeah.
internationally.
It makes sense. Like, yeah, no one gives a fuck. They're
So
tooting their own
this
horn.
is, as per IMDb, the true story of Herb
Oh,
Brooks.
is it?
The true story of Herb Brooks, the player turned coach who led the 1980 U.S. Olympic hockey team to victory over the seemingly invincible Soviet squad. And this stars Kurt Russell as Herb Brooks and a bunch of people you never heard of who were predominantly hockey players first and just in the movie because they knew how to play hockey, with
Smart.
one real exception of Eddie Cahill, who plays the goalie, Jim Craig. And he has a bunch of credits to his name, but I think he is most notable for a series of episodes in the middle of Friends where he played Rachel's assistant and love interest, Tag. And we fucking hate those episodes with Tag around these parts.
Oh, that's funny. Oh man, are you familiar? Like, have you read books on this? Like, is this something that you familiarized yourself with, being a hockey fan?
To me, this is one of the iconic American moments in all of sports, is the way I think about this.
Sure.
And it's something I've always heard about going back to when I was a kid. Whenever you would watch the Olympics, especially as a kid, like everything feels more meaningful when you're a kid.
Yes.
So you would watch the Olympics and you've kind of felt that national pride when your team, your country would do well. But the highlights were always there, right? Whenever they would show the during the winter games and you'd be watching hockey, they'd be like, and who could forget when just 12 years ago, the Americans upended the Soviet team. And you don't realize the political nature of the time.
So, yeah.
Kind of the way we spoke about the documentary for We Are the World. Like, yeah, the song, but you don't realize all the moving parts that had to come together to make something like that happen. And really, this is just a hockey game. But it's so much more than a hockey game because of the Cold War with Russia going on at the time. Yes. And, is Russia going to attack us at any moment? Are we going to have to go to war? These were all real concerns on the minds of American people in the 70s and into the 80s. And between this and I think Rocky IV, we basically defeated the Russians.
Thank you, Rocky.
But it's always one of those iconic things you always hear about, the Al Michaels call, doing commentary. Do you believe in miracles? Yes. It's when people bring up the great calls in sports, this is always on the list in the top 5.
Yes. Always in the top. Yes.
And then it's the idea too of just, these are American college kids who are basically playing against a team of professional players from Russia who were never allowed to leave Russia. They weren't allowed to ply their trade in the NHL or in any other leagues. They literally trained year round for international competition. They played as a team year round. The Russian national team was their service to the country.
Oh, must have been a fun plane ride home.
So obviously growing up, people like us only know the story from the American perspective.
Sure.
And a few years back, ESPN did a 30 for 30 documentary on the Russian side of things, where they interviewed as many of the Russian players as they could, and they got their perspective on it, which is incredibly interesting if you know
I was gonna say, it sounds
care
so crazy.
about this story. I actually had rewatched it recently before we even knew we were going to watch this movie again.
Yeah.
Because the 44th anniversary of the Miracle on Ice had just passed not even a month ago. So it actually came up on the suggestions when I opened the ESPN Plus app one day. I was like, oh yeah, I'll watch this. And it's super interesting to go back and see it from the other perspective and what the other side was thinking and what the Russian players were terrified of upon returning home.
Of course. I wouldn't want to go home, bro. That's We joke, but fuck, man.
You know, we always joke about hockey being Canada's game. And yet when Russia came to join kind of international play really in the early 70s, people thought of them as like a joke, like, oh, these Russians are going to come over and play
Oh,
our
really?
game, and they
That's
would play
funny.
like a team of NHL All-Stars and they would wax them, or they'd play
That's
Canada, like the team Canada, the best players in Canada, and wax them. You know, and then at one point they played like a series of like 8 games or 7 games, whatever, and it would get close, but the Canadians would start playing dirty physical hockey
Stop play
because the
for real.
Russians were too fast and too skilled. Even before, and I think what most people forget about the Miracle on Ice is, you know, they think, oh, that's when the US won the gold medal, and it's not. It's really, that's when the US advanced to the gold medal game.
Yes, that was always the thing for years, right? And then when you find out and go, wait, that wasn't the gold medal game. That was the fucking. Wait a minute, what? They
They had to
had to
come
win
back
another
a couple
game.
days later and play Finland for the gold medal.
It's so funny after all those years to be like, wait a minute, what? That was the craziest thing when I first learned that.
And for years, I believed that that was the gold medal game. Like, oh,
Yeah, of
that's
course, the way they talked about it, yeah, 100%.
so the big protagonist here is the coach, Herb Brooks. And Herb Brooks is portrayed as this really likable guy. He got along with, he was tough on his players, but they really liked him. And that couldn't be further from the truth. This group of guys respected Herb, but they did not like Herb. Herb was incredibly tough on these guys. And yes, it all came out in the wash because it worked and they won,
Yes,
and they won the gold medal. So they'll
so it's
forever be
okay.
linked. But in the
Yes,
time, they were not fans of Herb, but they all wanted to play in the fucking Olympics.
sure.
And there's one iconic scene in this movie where the team plays a really piss poor game against Norway that ends in a draw. And he makes them just basically start doing line touches for hours and hours after the game. He doesn't even let
After
them
the
go
game,
back into the
yeah,
locker room. He leaves them, makes them stay on the ice to the point of exhaustion where they're gonna get hurt. And one of
yes.
the things he had been doing in practice is saying, "What's your name and who do you play for?" And the guy would come up and be like, "Oh, I'm John Smith. I play for the University of Minnesota." The next guy would be, "Oh, I'm this guy and I play for Boston College." The big thing in the movie, is that Mike Eruzione, who ends up becoming the captain of this team, starts after the point, long past exhaustion. They're just going because this fucking guy won't stop blowing his fucking whistle. Mike Eruzione finally steps up and goes, "Mike Eruzione, I play for the United States of America." Like, okay, now they fucking get it. Now we can let them get off the ice. In real life, that did not happen.
Okay, good. Because it's crazy. I was like, this is insane if he did this shit.
In real life, there's a player called Mark Johnson who got so fucking fired up that he just started smashing his stick against the fucking boards until it broke, kicking and screaming and throwing a fit. And finally, Herb let them go.
Oh, not as dramatic a scene if that was played out for real.
But the thing was, Herb was the last person cut from the 1960 United States hockey team that ended up going to win the gold medal. And he was the last person cut days before the tournament started.
It's
And
rough.
the talk had always been that that was like why he ran
I
these
get it.
people into the ground, was because he wanted his gold medal. But at this point, Russia is a hockey superpower. They have no business even being on the ice with the Russians. And even a
No.
week before the tournament, they played, and they do show this game in Madison Square Garden, where the Russians absolutely wax Team USA. Even in the ESPN documentary, it's talked about where the Russians were like, "Why are we even bothering playing this tournament? Like, just give us our gold medals already." And when it comes time back around to play the Americans, there are some weird things, and you have to hear it from the Russian perspective, because I don't think the movie really does a good job of, they basically make it seem like USA just really focused, they understood the mission, and they really went in there, played the game of their lives against the insurmountable odds and ups. This game is filled with some freak moments and really questionable coaching decisions by the coach of the Russians, Viktor Tikhonov
Love
here. They have, at the time, the greatest goalie in the world. I think it's Vladislav Tretiak. Tretiak is definitely his name. I want to say it's Vladislav. But Tretiak is the goalie, probably at the time, maybe in history.
Wow.
And never gets the chance to go play in the NHL. But after giving up a bad goal at near the end of the first period, for some reason, Viktor Tikhonov sits Tretiak coming back on the ice for the second period and puts in his backup. Makes no sense whatsoever. Does that mean they give away the game? Not necessarily, but at the same time, it's just one of those things where all the Russian players kind of looked at each other like, what the fuck is going on right here?
Yeah, doesn't help.
But there was a fluke goal that the United States gets at the end of the first period where there's literal seconds on the clock. There's a dump in, Tretiak blocks it away, but one of the Americans never stopped playing. He's playing to the whistle. There's 3 seconds, 2 seconds. He chases down the puck, fires in the rebound, and basically they go into the intermission tied. And it's one of these things, you could run that same play 1,000 times,
crazy.
and 999 times, nothing happens. This just so happens this one time, this fucking iconic play in this iconic game goes down. And that's what I mean when I say, like, this shit just doesn't happen. It's one of those things that makes you believe in fate. Like, someone has to be behind the scenes almost pulling strings for this result to come out of this game, because these players did not belong on the same ice. Some of these saves that Jim Craig is making for the Americans in the last 120 seconds of regulation to keep that 1-goal lead for the time are like out of control. Like, this is a guy who never got any success at the NHL level. Like, this is the game of his life. And it just so happened to be on the biggest stage in the biggest game anyone could have expected, right? And now he'll go on and be, long after Jim Craig is gone off this earth, he will still be talked about and remembered as the person who saved the Miracle on Ice.
It's crazy. It is. It just happens. The moment. Sometimes people just, the moment, and it happens. It works out. That's why we love sports, right?
That's why we love sports. You know, that's why we watch sports. I've watched, guys, I don't know. I can't tell you how many individual sporting events I've watched in my life. Tens of thousands, legitimately.
Of course, yes.
Tens of thousands over the years. And you go in usually expecting a result, but not necessarily knowing you're going to get it. And sometimes you see something you never saw before. And that's what keeps us coming back. Sometimes you see something that's never happened before. I've attended hundreds of live baseball games. And then one time I went and there was a fucking no-hitter. And I couldn't fucking believe it, because I was with a girl who was telling me that she didn't want to date me because she wanted to get back with her ex-boyfriend. And all of a sudden I look up in the 8th inning and I realize that there's a fucking no-hitter going on. And before I know it, the Max Scherzer had 17 strikeouts and the Mets are going, and the Mets and me are all going home sad.
Double whammy.
So I got kicked in both nuts that night. And I didn't even, like, it's one of, but I've been to so many games. JoeMeZ and I were at a game in 2013 where Matt Harvey was pitching a perfect game into the 7th inning, and we're thinking we're going to see it. We're thinking this is the night.
This is it.
You know, I go to NHL games where I may see a guy score 5 goals tonight. You never know. You never know what you're going to see. And that's what the appeal for sports is. Usually, most of us have played some kind of sport growing up. We know the difficulty that comes along with playing sports or being good. You know, even at a youth level, if you play for your grade school basketball team, you don't want to be the last guy picked.
Never.
But you know what goes into being good. So when you watch sports, it's because you have some experience where you're able to appreciate what kind of skill goes into those players being at the elite level to be able to play professionally. Not everything has that where you can appreciate that kind of skill level. So when you see something like the Olympics, and this is supposedly the greatest players from around the world representing their country. And then there's just this one super team of Russians who feel like the bully of the world. And at any moment, they can set off World War III. And they're humbled by a group of college kids from America that really have no business being on. That's why we watch sports, for moments like that. And that's why they make movies about moments like that.
Yeah.
Now, is art better than reality at this point?
Usually.
I don't know.
You get to tweak, you get to tweak, make it, like you said, that scene, because as soon as he says it early in the movie, where do you play for? He don't say nothing. I'm like, oh, he's waiting for someone to say fucking USA. And then it's that scene where it's like, this is crazy. That's a good, big, dramatic scene. So you get to tweak it. You get to add. A guy going crazy, banging the glass, that's not fun. That's not, you don't want to see that.
And even one of the things that I think the filmmaker put in on purpose, it's probably lost on a lot of people unless you're looking for it. When they play the first game at Madison Square Garden, the character who's the centerman is taking the face off against the Russian, and he kind of looks down. He's scared. He's nervous to be on the ice with the big, powerful Russians. But yet when they come back a week later to play them in the Olympics, he's fucking grizzled. And he stares the Russian center down long enough to where now the Russian player is the one that breaks the eye contact before the face-off. And that's supposed to be like, oh, this isn't the same.
He's ready. Nope.
Kids that we played.
Yep. That's it. Love that shit. That's exactly what that is. That's what you need. Simple. It's a simple, quick little thing. And you go, yep, I get it now. They're fucking ready for this moment. Sports, baby.
So if anything, I think what this movie accomplishes is just gives you a good frame of reference for kind of what this moment meant in the time. And if anything, may give you the kind of kick in the pants to go research it further and hear different stories and different versions of it on your own.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I think I'm gonna hit some music here.
Are you a man? A double main man? Are you a man? A triple main man? A man? A quadruple main man? Are you our man? Are you our man?
All right, Joe. We got two movies battling out in our hockey division here. The Mighty Ducks and Miracle. Let's start with Mighty Ducks. Where you giving this on your main man standings?
Mighty Ducks for me just didn't hold up. And it, like I said, it meant a lot to me as a kid. It helped make me a hockey fan, which is something I enjoy to this day. So I could never take away from the Mighty Ducks. But watching it through the lens of 2024, it's not a great watch. So I'm only going to give it a double main man.
Oh, wow. I'm gonna give it a 3. It's still a fun movie. I watch it through the nostalgia, but I just think it's fun. It's a fun movie. It's not a great movie or anything like that, but it's a fun movie, especially for a kids movie. I think it's I don't want to say a perfect kids movie, but it's up there. I think it's a very good kids sports movie. 3 stars, baby. Let's move on to Miracle. The true story. Oh, baby. Man standings.
For me, I like this movie. I don't think it's perfect by any means. We got a lot of glazing going on in this movie. A lot of people fucking shining each other up, telling themselves how good they are. But like I said, it provides a good reference point for what the moment meant at the time. Even if you're not firmly familiar with the political climate at the time, I still think it does give you a good sense of it. And like I said, may make you want to do a little research on your own, or maybe follow up and learn more about the players on the team, or Herb Brooks as a coach or a person, or just the Russian team itself. I mean, the Russian perspective of it, I find incredibly interesting now after only hearing the US version.
Yeah.
You know, it's the history's written by the victors, right? And
Always,
so
yes.
hearing that for decades and then having this ESPN documentary that's
Yeah, I
up
definitely
right
want to check
now,
that out. Yeah.
very, very interesting. So I'm gonna give Miracle a 3, a triple main man. I enjoy this movie. It's not gonna be one of my all-time favorite sports movies, but I do think it's good. And the hockey looks good enough. You know,
Okay.
it's, yeah, you have to remember too, for those, if you're not a hockey fan, early 80s hockey does not look like hockey today. If you
Sure,
watch
of
like
course not.
old Wayne Gretzky highlights, basically goalies don't even know how to play the game at that point.
It's true.
Things really evolved by the mid to late 80s and 90s, where basically the way people played the game completely changed. So for the time period, I think the way the hockey looks is accurate, even if it looks weird at some points.
I'm there with you. I'm gonna give it a 3. I like this movie. I don't love this movie. I think it's a good movie. It's a very good sports movie. It hits all the notes you want in a sports movie. It's got the inspirational stuff. It's got the down and out stuff. You know, oh man, are we gonna get redemption? Oh no, I'm hurt. I don't get to play. I scored a big goal in the game. You get all that type of stuff in there. It's a good, solid movie. I'll give it a 3. Triple main man.
Okay, so that brings us to the poll in our group. Like we say, it's not our votes that matter for what movie moves on. It's what our group says. So obviously, I voted for Miracle this week. JoeMeZ, you gave both movies a triple main man. Which movie did you vote for?
I voted for Mighty Ducks just because if I had to pick which one I want to watch, I would pick Mighty Ducks. I would go for the more fun over the more serious sports movie. So that's how we voted. How did the folks vote? Boy, oh boy, the folks voted. And it was an ass whipping from the moment I put this poll up on the Facebook,
This
Joe.
was Gangrel coming with the bloodbath.
It was unbelievable. It ended with 74% of the vote. The Mighty Ducks just absolutely annihilated Miracle. Oh, baby. I wasn't expecting that. I thought it'd be a little closer, but I don't know. I guess the nostalgia is a little too strong for Mighty Ducks. We might have set ourselves up for failure here, bro. I don't know. These Ducks might be hard to beat.
Like I said, I try to put myself, I remember what it was like to watch it in the moment, but going back now, I still think Miracle is a better movie. Now, maybe that's because as big of a sports fan as I am, maybe that's because I put more value on the based on a true story.
Sure.
So that's probably where I come in. If you would have given me these two movies when I was 10 years old, I might have still voted for Miracle.
Okay, I get it. Well, Mighty Ducks moves on to the next round. They'll be taking on Slapshot. Very interested to see if the old school hockey movie, because I mean, Mighty Ducks is old school now, pretty much. Sad to say when I think about it, but you know,
when you think it's 32 years old,
yeah, it's
that's
pretty old school.
wild.
So, but going up against an old time classic, Slapshot, very interested to see where people vote. But that's going to be in a week or so. Next week, Joe, we're gonna move on to the football division here. Oh,
Ooh.
baby. We're pitting two high school football movies against each other. It's going to be a good one, Joe. We got Varsity Blues taking on Friday Night Lights. Oh,
Okay.
baby. Friday Night Lights is available on Amazon Prime. And the other movie, Varsity Blues, it appears to be like on TNT on demand, TBS on demand. Other than that, you would have to pay your $2.99 to watch it on VOD.
Have you seen both of these movies before?
I mean, of course, Varsity Blues. That's a called JoeMeZ special here, baby. Yeah. Friday Night Lights, I've seen it. I've loved it in the past. Our double main man Muhammad, we love Friday Night Lights. Booby Miles, is a good time, but I haven't seen it in a very long time, so I'm interested to see how it holds up.
I've never seen it,
Ooh.
So this will be a first time watch for me. Varsity Blues, I actually saw a special sneak preview at the Paramount building back in
Love it.
98, I guess this movie would have been.
Wow.
So I was back there, and when we were leaving the theater, you could look out the window, and that's where they filmed TRL, and Carson Daly was there, and our friend Dr. Armando, who was a big Carson Daly fan at the time, just started screaming like in The Graduate, banging on the window going, Carson, until he was asked to stop.
Please stop doing that, sir. We're trying to do a show here. Oh, man. But that's next week, Joe. We got to wrap this one up first, though, don't you think?
Let's hit some music.
Oh, baby. It's now time for the big finish. All right, Joe. Let's spin a wheel here. We got the big finish. Let's do it. Oh, look at this, Joe. We've got an OG big finish.
All
wow.
right.
Oh, baby, what do we got here? Oh, today's big finish, Joe. TV couples. Ooh, this is going to be interesting. I'm trying to think right off the bat. I don't know. All right. Here we go. Because a lot of TV couples, they be sucking sometimes. They start good and they don't last.
It's the will they, won't they? That's the good part.
That's always the
and
fun
then when
thing,
they get, like, I'll always go back to Jim and Pam from The Office.
Yes.
By the time they actually get together, I'm done with them.
Fuck them, bro.
By the time they get married, I'm like, no, like, fuck, these guys suck. What a terrible couple.
Terrible. I'm trying to think. Like, I know New Girl, they kept messing with Nick and Jess. They put them together, break them up, put them together, break them up. So can we say that they're the best? Like, I don't know.
But there was that one episode where Prince came in to give Jess a stern talking to.
Yes, the best.
Looking like somebody's sassy aunt.
I'm gonna go with the Belches and Bob's Burger. They're
okay.
I think they're a good couple, right? They play off each other very well. Linda and Bob. I dig what they're doing. We're gonna go with them. Who else?
My number one, and you probably should have seen this coming from a mile away, but it's gonna be Castle and Beckett from Castle.
Oh, I didn't even think that's a good one. Yes.
When they finally get together, I'm all for it. And even though the show may have hung around a little too long and got a little kind of too crazy with the cases, them as a couple is not what ruined the show. So when Castle and Beckett finally get together, I am for it.
That is a good one.
I got my number two, and this was also a will they, won't they for a long time, because you just didn't think that this guy would ever get the girl, and that is Dwayne Wayne and Whitley Gilbert on A Different World.
You're doing great, Joe. I'm struggling over here to think of couples that I actually like.
For what I used to watch A Different World in syndication every day. It used to be like the Disney Afternoon, and then Saved by the Bell, and Charles in Charge, and then A Different World and Married with Children. And I loved A Different World. And Whitley Gilbert is built up to be like the hottest thing on two legs. And Dwayne Wayne is obviously in love with her, love at first sight. But he's a geek. He's a nerd. He wears glasses, and they have those flip-up visors for the sunglasses. Like, he can't get a girl like Whitley Gilbert, and then he does. And when he does, you're just slow clap, like, goddamn right, Dwayne Wayne.
I want to go with one of the Parks and Recs couple, but which one would you go with? Are you gonna go with Ben and Leslie? You're gonna go with Andy and April? What would you? I think I might go with Ben and Leslie. I don't know.
Honestly, I wasn't even thinking along that route, but I love Andy and April because I don't think it was ever something that was planned.
Sure.
And then it looked like when the writers noticed the chemistry and that the weirdness, they'd be able to take this. Like, they got married within like 10 minutes of dating. And it's just like the most absurd thing. Like, it's obviously going to be a failure. And it ends up being this really strong relationship of two people who genuinely do care about each other and just knew what they wanted right away. And they're still weird and they're still nuts and they're still immature. Sometimes things are meant to be. And that's Andy and April.
Every time I think of something, I go, I don't know if I like them together. They're not too good. Like, oh, it's okay. And I don't want to go, like, I mean, we could go Homer and Marge, right? Because, I mean, Marge, it's
they're not a good couple, though. Think about all the time.
They're not, like, she puts up with a lot of bullshit. That's what I mean. Like, you go, oh, they've been together, and you think of, like, the happy, like, oh, but you're like, oh, Homer's an asshole. Like, like,
they remind me of, like, the older mentality where once you get married, you just don't leave. And it's not like they're abusive or anything, but obviously they do a lot of shit that, like, Homer's doing a lot of shit that upsets this woman who is trying her best to keep it all together at all times.
She's trying her damnedest, bro. That Homer. I mean, after season 3, I would have been like, Homer, what are we doing, buddy?
Enough is enough.
Homer, we gotta have a talk, bro.
The last one for me, I'm going to say from G.I. Joe, Flint and Lady J. They're serious, they're stern, they've got that same kind of personality, that same ambition, and they just seem to get each other. And when Flint and Lady J are together, it just seems like, you know what, like, these are two people who were meant to find each other, much more so than Duke and Scarlet, because a lot of times I felt Scarlet should have been with Snake Eyes, like in the comic book. And I think they kind of tease it at some point. It just kind of feels like Scarlet's never 100% focused on Duke, but Flint and Lady J for sure.
My last TV couple, this is for Kellyanne and Dr. Pete Longo. We're going to go with Damon and Elena and Vampire Diaries. I was thinking of Gilmore Girls, Lorelai and Luke. That's a good one, but we're gonna go with the Supernatural. We're gonna go with that one.
Can I give an honorable mention?
Of course,
because it's not just a couple. This is why it didn't get mentioned. But Melrose Place, Dr. Michael Mancini, and everybody. He ran through everyone at 4616 Melrose. Mancini boys for life.
There you have it, baby. Hit them plugs so we can get the hell out of here.
Guys, thank you for listening to the JoeMeZ podcast. Remember to join our Facebook group and vote in the poll to determine which football movie will move on to the next round, the football region for our March Madness sports movie bracket. You can do that on Facebook. It's free to join. You don't even have to join to vote in the poll, but just search JoeMeZ podcast on Facebook. Follow us on all the social media at JoeMeZ. Remember to subscribe to this podcast, or if you're watching on YouTube, at youtube.com/@JoeMeZpod, and leave us, please, a 5-star review. We're still a ways away from hitting our goal of 100 5-star reviews on Apple, and I think that would be a kind of a cool thing to do, since Papa Bear from the Card Foundation rubs it in my face that they have it and we don't every week. You can follow all my personal stuff on social media at the Joe Shoes, youtube.com/Joe Shoes for all my food review videos. I've got a ton that have gone up in the last couple of weeks, so please check them out. Remember to like and subscribe. And where will you see me next? I don't know. I don't know where I'm going to be right now. So working some things out, but I hopefully will have some announcements coming to you relatively soon.
The JoeMeZ154, Instagram, Twitter, Blue Sky, all that fun stuff. And twitch.tv/MEZmovie. I didn't get to do it this weekend because it was Shiloh's birthday, but I am planning on showing Wake Up Ron Burgundy this week on the Twitch stream. So follow me, because I'm not sure when I will do that, but I am going to do it.
So that was brought up in the group by, I believe it was Joe Hersky, who I met over at Toy-Hio, about Wake Up Ron Burgundy, which was bonus footage from Anchorman that was cobbled together to make another movie that was packaged in the gift set with the actual Anchorman DVD. So JoeMeZ will be nice enough to stream that at some point soon for us. So definitely give him a follow so we could all check that out as a group.
Yes, sir.
But for now, we're going to be watching Friday Night Lights and Varsity Blues, some high school football movies to bring us through the next round of the sports movie March Madness bracket. And with all that being said, JoeMeZ, let's make like Tom and cruise.
Peace.